What? Why? Why Legos? How do the hands work? How are they on their phones? How are they using chopsticks? Is he picking his teeth with his weird non-existent pinky finger? Why Lego hands? Why Legos? Why? Okay, I just really needed to get that out of my system before I started this speed article for real. This is a positive review, I swear. I'm good now. Let's get started. Hello, this is Jade the Stone, and welcome to Speed Articles, where I talk about a piece of media that I like and draw some fan art for it. So I'd been seeing lots of action-packed clips and GIFs of this new animated show that seemed to be heavily inspired by the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. From what little I saw, I could see that the animation was very impressive and had a dynamic flair that I tend to enjoy. And of course, as someone who loves cartoons and sees well-done animation, I had to check it out for myself. This show is called Monkie Kid, or Lego Monkie Kid. And like the title suggests, this show is indeed a Lego product. It's based on a Lego toy line. And the character models? Yeah, they're Legos. The vehicles? Legos. The hands? Legos. But honestly, you wouldn't entirely notice this at first glance. And as much of a problem I have with that blatant commercialism, and with the weird fingerless hands, that's honestly the only bad thing I have to say about Monkie Kid. Because this show was truthfully fun to watch and has a lot of potential to it. As I had thought, Monkie Kid gains its inspiration from Journey to the West. This story tells the tale of the successor of the main character of the original Chinese novel, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. The show follows the heroics of the titular Monkey Kid, MK, as he learns from Sun Wukong, goes on adventures with his friends, and defends the world from the villainous Demon Bull King, along with a lineup of colorful Villain of the Week type antagonists. So far, the entire show is only 10 episodes long, of 10 minutes each, with a 1-hour pilot special. And it manages to use that relatively short runtime wisely and skillfully to introduce its characters and their motives, allow the viewers to empathize with them, and sets up many intriguing plot points. It's got a nice group of characters, from MK's hot-tempered boss who turns from angry to protective on a dime if MK is in trouble, to the lazy but informative Mr. Tang, to the gentle giant Sandy, to MK's best friend Mei, all of whom often fights alongside him in battle. Each episode adds little touches to these characters and their relationship with MK, and they build on each other very well. For example, having an episode that focuses on Mei and the development of her dragon-like abilities, being followed by an episode where her skills outshine MK, forcing him to acknowledge her abilities and admit his faults. And even within that episode, we get a lot of focus on how the antagonist, Red Sun, is not taken seriously by his parents, which is then built upon in later episodes, allowing us to find sympathy with his character at some climactic moments towards the end. And that's not to mention one of the true focuses of the series, which I would argue is the mentor-student relationship between Sun Wukong and MK. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, is a powerful, unpredictable, often flaky, immortal being. He has a lot of flaws, but his faith in his student is not one of them. Both characters, Wukong and MK, actually have similar problems with impatience and distractibility. But because of this, Wukong is able to teach MK strategies to deal with those issues. This show has many references to classic martial arts films and media, from Kung Fu to Naruto, but often provides a fresh new take on the quote-unquote teachings of that kind of media. One lesson that really stood out to me was Sun Wukong's lesson about focus. Now, most martial arts series of this kind would often talk about drowning out all distractions or concentrating on a single thing. But Sun Wukong doesn't do this. In fact, he recognizes that both he and MK can't do this. In a hilariously detailed montage, Sun Wukong lets MK know of all the things he is thinking about at that moment, from the speed of the wind to these 37 emails from my lawyers, to contemplating his own immortality. He says that all of these things are running through his head, but the one thing that he's putting his utmost attention and effort towards is teaching MK in that moment. So instead of the classic only think about this one thing, it's more of a lesson about focus on dealing with one thing at a time, even if your mind may be on other topics. Which I think is a fun twist and highlights Wukong's understanding of his student. The characterization is pretty great, but what drew me in, and what still kind of baffles me, is the skill of the animation. The reason why the animation stood out to me in the first place was because it turns out that it was done by the same animation company that was behind one of my favorite shows, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like Rise of the TMNT, the animation is fast-paced and dynamic. The character design and fluid movements makes me forget that it is a LEGO series at times. And this is different from, say, the Lego Movie, which is also a piece of LEGO media, and has some really amazing animation to it. But whereas that movie's animation was stylized in a way that made it feel like Legos, Monkie Kid is stylized in a way to make it feel like it is not. I'm not comparing these two pieces of media to say that one is better than the other. They're both brilliant in their own ways. But I compare them to explain how the two adapt a piece of media using LEGO models in different ways. In the LEGO Movie, it is the LEGO Movie. The movements of the models, the world, and the characters were meant to give a feel for the blocky movements of LEGO parts and figurines. But with Monkie Kid, they wanted to include that fluid martial arts style in their animation, which you wouldn't think would work when your characters have square limbs and those hands! And yet, the animation is smooth as butter and beautifully well done. Really, a LEGO series has no business being animated this well. So while I might be a bit annoyed at the overall LEGO style, the creative liberties they take with the character models still work, and it still looks clean and professionally done. And it is not just the fluidity of the movements or the unique take on the LEGO style that makes it impressive. It's also in the details and the shot compositions. There are many times where the portrayal of the scene heightens the mood or the drama of the moment. And I'm not just talking about the high impact or climactic or even comedic scenes, which are done well. I'm talking about the actual drama. For example, putting a focus of one character up close in the foreground with another in the background when they are having a disagreement, and then paralleling that shot with the characters' positions reversed to show how they are on opposite sides. Or the May-centric episode, showing her ancestors towering over her small form to show the weight of her family history bearing down on her. Or shaking the camera and putting the characters off-centered to increase how off-putting a scene is to ramp up a villainous reveal in the next moment. Little details like that really go a long way with the visual storytelling of the show. It's these little details that come across in both the animation and the storytelling, which is where this show's potential lies. It manages to put a lot of information in there in its short 10 episodes, plus a pilot, which both doesn't feel rushed and also makes you interested in seeing more. I wouldn't say I'm in love with this series or anything, but it certainly managed to hook my interest, and with such good groundwork so early on, I'm definitely up for seeing more. I want to see where this show goes and to see that potential grow into perhaps something bigger. For this speed article, I recreated one of my favorite scenes from the show from my favorite episode. I was tempted to analyze this specific episode, but a fellow artist already did so. You can find the link to that analysis down in the description, along with the artwork that I created for this speed article. Also, can I just say that the characters for this show are actually really fun to draw. Yeah, I changed the models around and give them noses and ears and actual fingers, but the character designs are just fun, and the general shapes and expressions are nice and stylistic. I tend to draw lots of artwork outside of what you see just here, so if you'd like to see more of my art, I'll leave links to my social media sites down in the description as well. As usual, if you like this video, leave a like or a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more speed articles. As always, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.